Today I'd like to walk you guys through a passage of scripture that has really meant a lot to me, and I hope it will mean a lot to you as well, and really just be an encouragement to you today. Well, the passage I want to walk you through is Psalm chapter 51, and we'll be working through verse 14 through verse 17. Just to give you a little bit of context in what's going on in this psalm, this is a psalm of David, who's written this. And this is right after David has sinned with Bathsheba. So he's gone, he's committed adultery with her, and in order to cover up that sin, he's gone and he's sinned again. He's killed Uriah, the husband of Bathsheba. And so now you have all of this guilt that's weighing down on top of him. And so he writes this psalm really as a prayer to God, a way to express his feelings, to talk about God, talk about who God is, talk about who he is, talk about the discrepancy there. So he launches right into it in verse 14, and he says, "Save me from the guilt of bloodshed, God." He recognizes his sin. He recognizes what he's done, who he is, where he's fallen short of God's glory. And he says, "God, I recognize the guilt that is on me, this guilt of bloodshed." And he addresses God in a unique way, in a way that I think is critical for us in our understanding of who God is. He says, "God, the God of my salvation." See, he recognizes who he is. He's recognized what he's done, but he also recognizes that God is the God of his salvation. God who has saved him, who has redeemed him. He says, "My tongue will sing of your righteousness." Because he recognizes God is holy. God is righteous, he is not. He says, "Lord, open my lips and my mouth. I will declare your praise." He wants to declare God's praise, to rejoice in him, to give him glory, to give him honor, because he knows that he's fallen short. He knows that he himself is a sinner, and he cannot attain righteousness on his own. You see, he wants to give back to God just a small portion of what has been given to him. And if you look in verse 16, he says, "You do not want a sacrifice, or I would give it." He's starting to recognize there's a discrepancy that I can't really pay back. I can't really give to God all of what God has given to me. I can't really honor this arrangement. See, it's God's grace, it's God's mercy on display. God is giving way more than we ever deserve. He says, "You are not pleased with a burnt offering." Then in verse 17, the sacrifice pleasing to God, what you can do, the sacrifice that God does like, that he does appreciate, that's pleasing to him, is a broken spirit. What David is recognizing is his own sin. He's recognizing that he's done wrong. He's recognizing who God is and how holy and righteous he is, and how he wants to just praise his name, but he recognizes that the one thing he can do in this situation, in his sin, to please God, is to have a broken and humbled spirit before him. To say, "God, I recognize I've messed up. God, I've recognized that I can't do this on my own. I recognize that I am a sinner, that I am guilty. God, I am broken before you, and I need you. I need your grace. I need your mercy. I need your righteousness." To be broken and humbled before God. You see, we don't need people to have it all together. We don't need people in their pride, really, to say, "I don't need God. I can do this on my own. I can fix myself. I can fix these things." We don't need that. What we need is people to be broken before God, to be humbled before him. We need people to not have it all together. And that's so hard for us to understand. But it's so true. We need to be broken before him. And for those of you who are maybe nervous about that point, to be broken before God, well, what if God doesn't accept me? What if he rejects me? What about all these different things? Notice the end of verse 17. "You will not despise a broken and humbled spirit, God." See, if you're worried about being rejected by God because of your sin and because of your guilt, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. God will not, I promise here, he will not despise a broken and humbled spirit. So please, break before God. If God's church would break before him, what amazing things he could do working in us, among us, and through us. Thank you.